All right, here's the review for the test number 2. And if you do everything just like this, you'll do really well on the test. So first you're going to have something where you're going to get two numbers. Right here we have 24 and 18, and we're just asked to find the greatest common factor. For here, 2 will go into that. Also, 3 will go into that. And 6. 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. So here the greatest common factor would be 6. However, if you had two numbers like 18 and 10, the biggest number that will go into both of those is 2. You'll also have ones where you have variables with exponents. So let's say you have x squared, x to the 3, x to the 4. The answer would be x squared. You're just looking at the smallest exponent. So if you had x to the 4 and x to the 3, the answer would be x to the 3. That one's easier. All you do is look to find the one that has the smallest exponent. Next, you're going to have to factor out a greatest common factor of something like 6x to the 8 plus 18x to the 5 minus 21x squared. So the greatest common factor for the numbers here would be 3, and for the variables it would just be x squared. And what are we left with? We're left with 2x to the 6 plus 6x to the 3 minus 7. Then you're going to have something like 6y plus 48 minus xy minus 8x. So on the first two, we can factor out a 6, and we'll be left with y plus 8. On the second, we can factor out a negative x, because this middle term is negative, and we'll be left with y plus 8. We can factor now a y plus 8, and we're left with 6 minus x. The next, you're going to have something where you just need to find where a rational expression is undefined, and that's when the denominator equals 0. So if you have 3x minus 8, you just set x minus 8 equal to 0, add 8 to both sides, and you're going to get x equals 8. That's what the answer for that will be. Then let's say you have x minus 3 over 3 minus x. You can do this the long way and factor out a negative 1 from the bottom. So you'd have x minus 3 over negative 1, negative 3 plus x, and rewrite that to be x minus 3 over negative x minus 3. These cancel and you get negative 1. Remember, if you have something where you have the same variable and the same number, but they're in reverse order and they're subtracting, when they factor out, it's going to be a negative 1. Then let's say that we have x squared plus 8x plus 15 over x squared plus 9x plus 20. And we have to simplify this. So what we'll do is first factor the top. We'll have x plus 5, x plus 3. Factor the bottom, x plus 5 and x plus 4. The x plus 5's cancel, and we're left with x plus 3 over x plus 4. Next, there will be something like what number is 15% of 200? And all you have to do here is put it into the equation where you have A is the amount, we don't know that, and it's of 200, so it's going to be over 200 equals, we say that it's 15 over 100. Next, you're going to do some conversions. The conversion factors will be on the test for you. Just follow the directions that are there and you'll be fine. So I'm not going to do those ones. After that, we're going to have something like x squared minus 12x plus 36. If you look at this, you'll see that 36 is a perfect square. The square root is 6. The square root of x squared is x. And if we say 2 times x times 6, that equals 12x. So this is a perfect square trinomial. And since it's a negative 12x, we can just say x minus 6 squared. You can also, if you factored that out, you would have x minus 6 times x minus 6. Next is going to be another with 4 terms. So 6x to the 9 plus 15x to the 6 minus 8x to the 3 minus 20. So for the first two, we can factor out a 3 and an x to the 6. We're left with 2x to the 3 plus 5. Then we can factor out a negative 4 here. So minus 4, and we're left with 2x to the 3 plus 5. We have the same thing in the parentheses, so we can factor that out. 2x to the 3 plus 5, and we're left with 3x to the 6 minus 4. Next will be something like 5x squared minus 45x plus 70. To make this easy, we can factor out the 5 first. So 5, we're left with x squared minus 9x plus 14. We keep the 5 as part of our answer. We have x minus. Our factors of 14 that add up to 9 are 7 and 2. Next, we're going to have a perfect, or a difference of 2 squares. So let's say that we have 4x squared minus 49. So we know we're going to have a 2x plus 7 and a 2x minus 7. Square root of the first one plus the square root of the second one, and then square root of the first one minus the square root of the second one. Next, let's say we have something like negative x squared minus 2x plus 35. The first thing we want to do is factor out the negative 1. So negative x squared plus 2x minus 35. We keep our negative as part of our answer. We're going to have an x plus and an x minus. Our factors of 35 that subtract to get to 2 are 7 and 5. Next, we're going to have something like x squared plus 6xy minus 16y squared. So there's nothing we can factor out, but we're going to have an x plus, and since we have a y squared, we'll have a y at the end, and also an x minus with a y at the end. And our factors of 16 that subtract to 6 are 8 and 2. Next, you'll have something with an x to the 4. So x to the 4 minus x to the 2 minus 56. So our factors are going to be x squared minus and x squared plus. And the factors of 56 that subtract to 1 are 8 and 7. Aye.